Throughout most of its history, the music industry has sold songs individually, as singles, right? First on vinyl, then on cassettes, then on CDs, and now on streaming platforms. In the 1970s, as music production techniques got more advanced, record producers would popularize the idea of the remix, a reworking of the single with some additional elements. Now, it's a pretty simple concept, but music lovers will know that hip-hop truly embraced and amplified this phenomenon, often with a fearless creativity. I mean, from pairing Run DMC and Aerosmith, or Elton John and Eminem, or a rap and bluegrass band called Gangsta Grass, which I know on paper that sounds crazy, but trust me, they're really, really good. Hip-hop mastered the art of the remix, introducing all kinds of evolution to the musical landscape, bringing in new styles and subgenres that are with us to this day. Now, when you think about it, this makes perfect sense. In the early to mid 1970s, a group of young people with no resources, no institutional support, and seemingly no bright future created what will become known as hip-hop. Born from hundreds of years of Black American music before it, blues and jazz and soul, and thousands of years of African diasporic influence going way back to the drum circles and the griots, and borrowing from other genres and communities like folk or punk rock. And from this, hip-hop would evolve like no other musical movement before, by unapologetically borrowing, adapting, and remixing like nothing else. Like pioneering rapper Grandmaster Caz once said, hip-hop didn't invent anything, but hip-hop reinvented everything. Okay? Now think about it, something that music lovers today might take for granted. A DJ with 2 turntables, seamlessly blending one song into the next, manipulating the sound by moving the record back and forth, turning the turntable into an instrument, right? Remixing the single in real time. See, that's the kind of thing that these folks got really, really good at. Taking something that already existed and dramatically reinventing it to fill a need or a void or just create something super new. But they did it collaboratively and against all odds. I mean, they reinvented putting words to music in the first place. From simple braggadocio to cinematic storytelling to Pulitzer Prize-winning brilliance, rap can encompass the entirety of the human condition in a modern, accessible format. Its existence formed by the need to create a verbal outlet for those that had been traditionally silenced. Similarly, they reinvented art, turning city walls and trains into canvases. What was once looked at as vandalism is now seen as a pretty ingenious form of self-expression, right? Young visual artists who are telling a world that had all but forgotten them, you're going to see my name. You're going to recognize my style. You're going to know that I exist. They reinvented dance, bringing in all kinds of athleticism and styles that started on cardboard on city streets and made it all the way to the Olympics, right? Which was really good to see, except for, there's this one, they even reinvented conflict resolution. See, in the years after a 1971 peace treaty between warring gang factions in New York City, those young people would start to use their dancing skills, their rapping skills, their DJing skills in place of physical aggression. And in the years that followed, we'd see hip-hop's influence way outside of entertainment, right? We'd see it in fashion. I know someone out here was rocking bamboo earrings, at least 2 pair. There you go. Shell-toe Adidas. Right? And I don't know who's going to admit this, but for a little bit of time, a bunch of folks were wearing their clothes backwards. Okay. Maybe y'all. Okay. We'd see this influence in film and TV, right? From Boys in the Hood to Martin to Def Comedy Jam. We'd see it in marketing and advertising, right? From like every NBA commercial ever. To Snoop Dogg selling Skechers, to ice cream commercials talking about scoop, there it is. We'd see it in the fine arts, from a Jay-Z takeover of the Brooklyn Library to Hamilton on Broadway, or to Jeezy rocking with the Atlanta Symphony Orchestra. See, hip-hop-minded folks reinvent, rework, reimagine, remix everything. They turn burnt-out buildings and urban battlefields into bastions of brilliance. They turn lack of access to classical music classes into master classes of creating new classics. And they literally turn the table on troublesome traditions, transforming turbulent times through top rocket and tongue twists and triumphs. Come on. Now, if you look past what people want us to think about hip-hop, this is all pretty impressive, right? I mean, to me, if everything I had just said was a single, I might have me a hit. Well, now it's time for the remix. Because what those examples from the past show is that those young people didn't just create music and dance. They invented a revolutionary approach to collaborative problem solving. Right? Part of a full-fledged culture that would influence music and fashion and advertising. But today it influences education, health and wellness, science and technology, community building, and so much more, not just in the country where it was born, but across the globe. For instance, in a classroom, a group of students struggling to pass state-mandated exams were able to pass at a nearly 80% rate after being introduced to a collaborative hip-hop learning program. In a school counselor's office turned recording studio, young people who don't like to open up about their trauma and their deepest fears started talking to the counselors and each other after being introduced to a hip-hop-based therapy program. They went on to create songs and an entire mixtape about their experiences together. In a library, an instructor leads a group of teenagers in a workshop designed to increase interest in tech careers by fusing computer coding and beat making, sparking interest in young people that come from communities that the tech industry hasn't always been very welcoming toward. In a city hall, a former recording artist turned council member arranges the chairs of the town hall in a circle. In hip hop, we call that a cipher, right? She knows its power to promote visibility, engagement, equity, and a sense of belonging. And in a war-torn region across the globe, young people from either side of an age-old conflict perform together. Because as one says, you can't fight when you're dancing. Now, I could give you 100 more examples. But this isn't just about using hip-hop, right? It's about learning from it. See, remixing a problem with a hip-hop framework doesn't require beats or rhymes, just permission to think outside of all the boxes and build better things with what we already have, and to do it collaboratively. It's about looking at a need or a problem and thinking, honestly, what would hip-hop do? Huh? What would a hip-hop consultant suggest? Well, you might want to do what hip-hop did. You might want to reclaim value from overlooked sources by sampling diverse lived experiences, particularly from those that are traditionally left out of power or influence, right? What does that look like in real life? Well, mental health professionals that are training the formerly incarcerated to help the newly released get readjusted. Or the Confess Project, which trains barbers to talk to black men about mental health issues in the barbershop. See, we want to evolve traditional systems by reinventing outdated norms. In Finland, they don't even do a lot of standardized testing, none from K to 9. Instead, they chose to center creativity and collaboration and interdisciplinary learning. Oh, that sounds familiar. Now their schools are ranked some of the best in the world. We want to meet people where they are, fostering inclusivity through a come-as-you-are mindset. Maybe you're a business owner. A lot of employers now are creating neurodivergent-friendly workspaces with sensory rooms and quiet time and updated communication norms, making it more welcoming for neurodivergent employees. See, that's creating spaces where people don't feel like they don't belong. You want to ignite collective creativity by prioritizing collaboration over individualism. Maybe you're in urban planning. The mass design group is known for involving the community when planning to build a building. See, that's co-creating instead of just imposing. We want to expand what's possible by turning scarcity into abundance through resourceful repurposing and shared innovation, like libraries in Seattle that lend out tools, promoting sustainability, hands-on skill building, and community resilience. From not enough to more than enough, together. Or as the late great poet Christopher Wallace once said, they went from negative to positive and it's all good. That's right. See, because hip-hop's never been about individual achievement. The dancers needed the DJ. The DJ was enhanced by the MC. They all needed the musicians and the beat makers. Breakers and graffiti writers form crews. Hip-hoppers perform in that cipher, each one taking turns while the community holds the space. Because real hip-hop has never been about exclusion. If you authentically respect the culture, you are welcome in the cipher, period. So we see what a hip-hop inspired guidance would look like when we incorporate it into our schools or our workplaces or our municipalities or our community organizations. Imagine the ingenuity and innovation that can emerge if we fully tap in to this uniquely powerful ethos and create spaces where everyone belongs, everyone contributes, and everyone benefits, especially those who have been told there's no place for you at these tables. This is how everyone gets to build their own table. Now I know some of y'all up here thinking like, man, you up here talking like, hip-hop can save America. Hip-hop can save the world. All right, I'm optimistic, but hold on, hear me out. Think about any issue that we face as a society today, okay? And now think about the people who are in charge and supposed to help us solve it. Same old song and dance. Reforms and innovations, that's just them changing the tempo on us. New leaders promise to sing originals, but they just end up doing covers. We are stuck on repeat. But if the first half of this talk, the single, showed us what hip-hop can do to innovate music and fashion and advertising, the second part of the talk, the remix, should show us what hip-hop's able to do to influence and innovate education, healthcare, science and technology, politics, conflict resolution, community building, by centering real collaboration and inclusivity at the core of everything that we do. See, hip-hop is ubiquitous across the globe because it brings people together across all demographics like nothing else. Not sports, not religion, and certainly not politics. So we see that hip-hop is everywhere, but it's also in everything and can help everyone, not just people who know about it. And it can do this because in its DNA, in its core, is something that knows how to bring people together, to work together, to build together, to innovate together. See, it's these aspects of hip-hop culture, this hip-hop way of thinking, and most important, hip-hop-minded people that can truly teach us how to remix the future for the better, if we're ready to listen. So let's press play. Thank you. Thank you.